Hi guys, Chamion here. I hope all is well. I am going to do my version of salmon cakes for you all, right? For that you will need some fresh seasonings, of course. I have Chardon Benny in there. It's a herb or seasoning, green seasoning that is native to the Caribbean. So I have some Chardon Benny in there. I have onions in there, a bit of ginger because ginger is really excellent with fish, and that's about it. You can use parsley, so it's onion, ginger, uh, jalapenos, fresh jalapeno, and the Chardon Benny, right? I will pulse it as we on set. If you don't know what jalapeno looks like, this is what it looks like. It's just sweating a bit because it was in my refrigerator, okay? This is what fresh jalapeno looks like, right? So I'm just going to start by making the seasoning. First time you call out all that's going to be needed. The brand of your salmon is not, it isn't necessary, right? So you will need two cans of salmon. You see the size of the can? It's actually it's actually 418 grams in each can, right? This is some fish seasonings, powdered seasoning. It's a complete blend, so be careful with salt. This is garlic, granulated onion. In other words, onion, garlic powder and onion powder. 1 whole egg, Italian breadcrumbs, some parsley for garnish, some Worcestershire or Worcestershire sauce in here. It's some measuring glass that I have here. We have a little above 1 tablespoon of it. And I have this seasoning that is known in the international world a lot. It's not easily or readily available in most supermarkets here locally, but I guess you can try and see if you find it. It's Old Bay, but my international friends will get the Old Bay, right? So I have my own quite a while. It's just refrigerated. A tip before I move away: keep your powder seasonings like your granulated onion and garlic powder and those things refrigerated, because if you don't, it tends to clump together. I'm also going to use my Stonewall kitchen brand of Maine sea salt and mixed peppercorn. I'm going to have to grind it fresh, okay? Right. So I'm going to start this moment by doing my seasoning, getting my seasoning ready. You all know I only work with fresh seasoning. If you don't know, you know. For everything I'm cooking, I make a different blend of fresh seasoning depending on what I need it for. I season everything differently. No one thing is seasoned the same, okay? So it's just in my mini processor. When the machine is going, you won't hear me whatsoever. It makes no sense I'm speaking because it's going to drown out my talking, right? Just want to make sure it's in place. And I'm going to pulse now. You don't want it too fine, okay? So about there is where you want it. Your seasonings, that is. Remember I said you can also use, because I'm using garlic powder and garlic is so strong, I didn't put fresh whole garlic. If you want to, you can, okay? So at this moment I'm going to open it's pink salmon, by the way, Alaskan salmon, right? So I'm going to open that this minute. Going to just use my electric can opener. The seasoning smells just lovely, by the way. That's going to be a lovely seasoning blend minus the ginger for omelettes. Just give you all a next tip right there. I try to fit in as much as I can for you guys, right? So that's going to be perfect, that blend of seasoning for omelettes. Okay? Right, so I'm just going to open it up quickly. Always hold on to your cans. You all hear me say that time and time again when I'm using this electronic opener. It snaps. The arm is magnetic and it's just going to snap apart if I don't do that. Well, it's supposed to somewhat jam, but you don't want to risk that, right? Because it have kind of like an attachment there for that. Let me open the next one immediately, then I'm going to clean up spillage. Don't ever leave your stuff in cans, okay? Once you open it, get it out. Right, so I'm just opening them up. You have to strain this, please. Pass it through a sieve to get the liquids out of it. We don't want the liquids for salmon cakes, right? Let me just wipe up with our kitchen safe wipes. Alright, so I'm just going to clean up the mess, like I said, using a kitchen safe wipes. To cut down on bacteria, don't use tea cloths and dish towels and so forth. Use a new kitchen safe wipes for everything, okay? Let me get my, which is more important, let me get my salmon out of the can. It's, oh boy, wow. You all saw what happened there, right? Yeah, so I'm going to strain my salmons at this very moment. Both of them. I'm just going to get it into the bowl. Of course, the salmon have bones that we will need to remove. I'll show you guys, right? I'm just straining it by my sink area so you're not seeing me, but of course you are hearing me. I'm using a sieve, like I said. Right, so I have a tool I want to show you guys today, very briefly. Just wiping up again. I have a tool that I want to show you guys because the salmon, it contains bone. We are going to zoom in for you guys to see. Right, so I have this tool. It's called a fish bone remover, and it's excellent for if you are doing like fillets and so forth of fish, right? Because some fish contain small bones. I happen to only love fillet fish, and sometimes I get it from my fishmonger or fisherman fresh. So sometimes it still have bone even though they fillet it for me, right? All right. So the bigger bones, we won't need the fish remover for that. You are seeing the bone. We are going to zoom in for you all to see the bone. You want to be very careful, right? You see the finer bones in your fresh fish like this one is what the fish bone picker or remover will be perfect for. Once it's fresh fish, right? It's cooked fish, the salmon, so I don't need it. I'm just showing you all because I did say that I was going to do from time to time some gadgets for you all. So I already showed you all that. I may still cover it when I do the video on the gadgets, right? So this is what our pink salmon looks like. It's literally like a whole salmon in the can. And unfortunately, they don't remove the bones. The bone remains in, right? So I'm just getting all the bone. The bone is pretty soft because remember it's cooked, but please, you don't want that crunching in there from that bone, especially the center bones, right? So I'm just removing it as quick as possible because of course I want to get on with the other part of things, right? So all the ones that it's like this more or less in the can, right? About 2 or 3 of them. You see all that bone there? Just simply remove it. Simply remove all the bones. And it's easy because remember it's cooked. If it's uncooked, it will have been very hard to get out. Right? So just go through it again. If you have to do so twice, your bowl will be a mess. Expect that. You all know I can't stand mess, but sometimes it is what it is, right? I could barely stand on my bowl looks at this stage. Actually, I want to change my bowl really bad because that is not what I want to work in. Right, so we are getting there. I'm going to put in all this stuff now into our bowl. Right, I'm just changing bowls. Sorry, quickly because that bowl is a mess. I don't like how it look. I can't work with this bowl looking like this, right? So I'm just going to do a quick change of bowls for the sake of that. You always want to take every tip that I offer. You see the bowl is a mess. I'm filming, I'm recording, and I don't want that on my set. I just don't want this look on my set at this point. I'm not interested in that look, this dirty looking bowl being on my set. Like seriously, so I'm just getting it out. And as I took it out, I saw a bit more bone, so it's working in my favor also, right? I'm just not interested with that messy bowl there. Just wipe my area again. Right, and let's get in our seasonings and follow by the other stuff. Right, so time to get our fresh seasonings in there. Remember, I made it just now, right? So in goes all this loveliness. You should smell how it smells. Those of you that are with me live on here, thank you all for joining me. Thank you all. Right? So just give it a somewhat of a mix. You can add your I don't mash it up too much, okay? I love the chunks. For my American viewers and supporters, you all will realize when you are having the crab cakes, they leave the chunks or lumps of the crab in there. It's a great purpose, right? If you mix it too fine, you won't have much of a good texture. I'm going to add my powdered stuff at this point. Just a bit of our season up, Maggie fish season up. I'm just calling their name, I'm just being direct, that's all. It's not sponsored content. This is my onion powder. I will say about a teaspoon of it, followed by the same set teaspoon of the garlic powder, followed by a couple cracks or turn on my grinders, my Stonewall kitchen grinders. I don't need any salt. I won't be putting salt in there because most of the time the processed canned food, it contains salt, so I don't want salt in there, okay? Remember, the jalapeno peppers are somewhat heated, so you don't want to add any chili flakes to this unless you really want some spicy salmon cakes, okay? So about there is where I'll stop with the pepper. And I'm just going to get in my Worcestershire or Worcestershire sauce. It's a joke, I told you all a couple times, right? Followed by my breadcrumbs. Let me just give a turn a bit with my hands, right? Followed by my breadcrumbs and my egg, and we are going to start to form it into the shape of the patty. Put your breadcrumbs before you put your eggs, okay? Like I said, leave those big pieces. You want them just somewhat, give a gentle break of it with your hands, right? But you want it. This is Italian breadcrumbs. Like I said, what is Italian breadcrumbs? It's seasoned breadcrumbs. So this one will contain salt, and that is why I held off on putting any salt in it from my grinder, right? That is exactly why I deliberately didn't add salt. We don't need that amount of salt in any one food, or any food for that matter. You all want to watch it with those things, right? We are going to add the eggs and form our salmon cakes. Fry it. Already have a pot of oil heating, and that's the end of this demo. Very simple, very easy to do. If you are somewhat concerned about the egg aspect of things, if you don't eat eggs, simply do a mashing with some potatoes and put it to act somewhat as a binder. You will just need less breadcrumbs, okay? I know you all understood what I said. So let me get in the eggs. One egg, large egg at this point. Remember how much things I call at the start of the demo, right? You just want to mix everything up until you see that it's somewhat holding together, binding together, right? That's all you want to do. No fuss, no nothing. You all know I keep it really simple when it comes to food and my recipes and so forth. I don't want to confuse anyone, and it's useless trying to do that. Because I don't just come to cook to look fancy. I expect you all to try it and have the exact same results that I have, right? I'm just going to use the rest of my breadcrumbs. I don't just come in here to somewhat just cook and, no, that is not Food by Chamion goal and purpose. We are here to educate in the simplest way possible. Like I say all the time, if there's anything I can help with, food-wise, you need some advice or anything, feel free to comment below and I'll answer you in a timely manner. I guarantee that. Right, so I'm about to form and get into our oil. I'm just cleaning up a bit of my mess again. Like I said, I cannot stand mess. I just can't stand mess, right? So as I form them, I'm going to get them into the pot, right? You see how it's holding together. You don't need more than one egg because it's going to be too mushy. As the word, it's not going to hold together properly if it have too much eggs, okay? So you see what I'm doing? I'm just gently pressing with my hand. I don't need any device to form this into a circle or anything whatsoever. There is absolutely no need for that. You just need to average as you go. You see how it's holding together like a patty? This is what you want. I'm going to get it straight into my pot of hot oil. That's one. I'm just going to wait until they are finished frying to present final product for you. So I'm just going to make a next one, okay? The goal with cooking for things to finish, to be cooked evenly and so forth, is that you want to make it the same size. You average as best as you can to make your food, even when you are prepping, dicing and so forth, for it to be the same size, okay? That's all. So your food will look uniform and it's going to cook the same, take the same amount of cooking time, right? And you are seeing the chunks of the fresh seasoning coming through so brilliantly in there, which is what I wanted. That's why I don't use canned stuff. You will never get this with canned or bottled stuff that is already on a shelf somewhere. You won't get that. So that's why I always make a fresh blend all the time, right? You see I'm averaging the size. This can also be done if you are vegetarian or vegan, minus the egg. This can also be done using some minced soya, some lentils and black beans. Same process minus the egg. You want to, however, make sure your lentils and stuff is fully cooked, and then you run it in your processor and pulse for a certain amount of time, and then you follow all the steps that I took here minus the eggs, okay? I had to say that because I know I have a lot of vegetarian followers also and supporters, and everyone is important to us here at Food by Chamion. So I'm going to get a device that you will see me use in our next fish demo. It's just cooking, so that's all that's going on before I present the final product. You all seen it in the pot there, right? Of course, it is out of my hands now, so to speak. It's cooking, so there is nothing I can do but wait until it's ready, right? There's absolutely nothing I can do about it. I'm going to get the tool that I spoke about and turn, right? This is the tool you want to use when you are cooking any fish. Right, the others need to go just a bit more before we flip them. I guess that was the first one, right? We just want to wait for me to... In the meantime, while it's cooking, I will try to do a sauce for it, a dip, if you will, a sriracha mayonnaise sauce or dip, right? I'm going to do that while we are waiting for them. We don't want them too dark, eh? We want them fully cooked because it contains egg, but we don't want them dark. That is not the goal, right? So alright, so I'm gonna wait off a bit until I am done with the I'm just gonna wait off a bit. Let me just wait off a bit because I don't want my hand to be in the sauce and then I realize I have to stop to get the stuff together, right? We are almost done cooking. We are almost there. Like I said, it contains egg and we want to play it safe. Make sure the egg is cooked off. The salmon was fully cooked, as you know, it's canned stuff, right? Remember, I spoke on all of that. You just want to be very safe and not rush the cooking process of the eggs. And we know also that egg don't take very long to cook. You think about scrambling an egg, so be careful with splatters and so forth because it's splattering, the oil is splattering at this stage, okay? So just be careful with things like that. You don't want to fry it until it's a cardboard mess. You want it to maintain some of its moisture. See what I'm doing to get all the excess oil, right? Just gently press. It's going to be good as a slider. My fellow Trinidadians, a slider is a small version of a sandwich in the international world. What we will call a dinner roll over here is what they're going to make a slider with. That one somewhat caved on us. I'm going to put just a bit more breadcrumbs in the next batch, but of course I won't keep you all waiting to see that. I'm about to make that sriracha sauce and present one on a plate, right? In the meantime, this batch needs to be refrigerated, so I'm going to do just that. With chili peppers, vinegar, and spices. It will vary depending on the brand, okay? So I'm just going to get a couple, some of my mayo in my bowl. I don't want you all to see the brand, so allow me to use it behind the scenes. The brand isn't important, but I will say that I use an international brand, right? That's the only thing I will say, but the brand isn't important, right? I'm using about a quarter cup. You don't need salt in this either because the mayo is salty. Remember, mayo contains salt. It's salt, vinegar, egg yolks, and things like that that they put mayo together with, right? So I'm back on set. I'm just going to get my sriracha in there with some freshly cracked peppercorns, medley of peppercorn, and I'm done. Wow, we seen an ants in my bowl, right? I think we have like that. I don't know, sometimes these things happen because remember I cook a lot, right? So I don't want you all to think it's like anything else other than it is. Sometimes, you know, because when you bake and you cook and you do all these different things, you have these, and remember I am live, okay? Keep all that in mind. My kitchen was sanitized. We shut down yesterday for sanitization purposes only, fully sanitized. Strip everything and wipe and bleach and, you know, so forth and so forth. But you all know I like to be real with you all. So this is the sriracha, right? I'm not showing the brand, but this is what it looks like pretty much, right? I'm just going to use a couple drops. Yeah, so we sanitized the entire kitchen yesterday, did a proper stripping, and we didn't cook yesterday. We shut down and we all right, let me put up, right, so I'll say about a tablespoon, right? Yeah, so know that this kitchen is always well run. It's no fancy thing here with me. It's safety first over everything else, because when you cook, people trust you with their lives, okay? People trust you with their lives, literally. Food poisoning it's not something that's cool, and I guess people are really sick enough to end up in the emergency room, right? So you all see how easy the sriracha sauce was to make. Very easy. The sriracha mayo, I'm saying sauce, but it's sriracha mayo. I'm just going to put some of the fresh pepper in there, like I said, right? Just for some variation of color. And I'm going to present that our salmon cake on a tasting plate, and we are done. We are done. It's that easy. Let me just get the spatula out of it, right? Right, so I'm getting ready to plate it, and it's this easy. We are just finished. That's the plate that I'm going to be using, so I'm just removing all the drops of black pepper. Right, so let's plate up this thing and shut it down. I'm right here, I'm just looking to get out one to plate it. And what happened is we are a bit mashing up a bit. Let me just do over one. The oil is hot. Let me do over one. Right? I'm going to add a bit more breadcrumbs. Remember, I have some extra breadcrumbs on hand. We are going to take less than 1 minute to plate up for you all. Remember, I have extra breadcrumbs on hand so that if you find the texture isn't what you want, you can just add some more breadcrumbs, right? That's all. No, don't fuss. I tell you all the time, don't fuss. I ask you all to refrain from fussing when you are cooking, because it just causes stress that isn't necessary, right? So I'm just going to go and get back our patties and add some more breadcrumbs too. If it's not make you all get stressed out while you all are cooking, just remain calm at all times. So we're just adding some more breadcrumbs because we want it binding together. There isn't no need really for us to become stressed when we are cooking. Absolutely none, because it solves nothing. And believe it or not, depending on our mood, sometimes the food comes out just as the mood of the cook, you know. If somebody loves cooking, the food's going to be just a different, altogether entirely different something to somebody who's just cooking or in a bad mood of cooking because they have to cook. And that's why I'm passionate about what I do, which is cooking, right? So you saw when I add the rest of breadcrumbs. Remember to keep it in the refrigerator. You can also probably prepare it like the night before if you so desire, right? But you saw when I add that rest of breadcrumbs. Yes, you saw. So I'm just doing again patty, right? That's all I'm doing. I'm just gonna do one so we can shut it down. Just making the patty now. And that's all. That's all. Hi to those of you that are live with me. Thank you all so much for coming to keep my company on here. So this is our salmon cake. And then those of you that just joined, you are able to see me making it live also. So I'm going to put it into my pot of oil. The oil is foaming at this point, right? Yeah, just foaming a bit. It's canola oil, by the way, I forgot to mention, so it's a good reason that I'm here. But I know you all will have asked me in any event. Somebody will have asked me which oil I use, right? I know you all well enough by now. So it's canola oil, right? The patty, let's just wait until it's cooked. It's not going to take long to cook for those of you that's now joining. The air just needs to cook off, that's all. Because the salmon, the pink salmon is already cooked. But you don't want to add too much of breadcrumbs, right? Because what will happen is it will become too heavy, too stiff, too firm. You want nice balance when you are adding your breadcrumbs. I did a couple others just now, but it didn't hold together as firmly as I wanted it to, so I'm just doing for this one for that purpose. It should be out. We take it out in the next couple of seconds. If you are now joining, you will be able to go back and look at it when I'm finished with the live, because it's going to stay on the channel unless, of course, I remove it, which I doubt very much. We just have one minor thing issue, and that was about the size of it, nothing else. So I'm going to leave it up. Believe it or not, there are times I do live and I have to remove it and go over with Set Demo Live, because Food by Chamion, we are a company that wants to be known for excellence. We don't want anything substandard coming out of our kitchen and anything that we do. So if it isn't to my liking, if you are new, it's Chamion that's speaking. That's my first name. I give him first name. It is Chamion that's speaking. And